Hi there, I'm Justin Pritchard, and in this video, a look at a swanky new AMG Mercedes with an electrified new engine that you might want to pay attention to. This is the E53 AMG Coupe. Probably the biggest story about this car starts under the hood with this new engine that I mentioned. It's a Mercedes-AMG straight six of 3 liters displacement, turbocharged and fitted with the latest in electrification, including a new and cutting-edge 48-volt hybrid system. So, why should you pay attention to this engine given that this car's price tag is, well, nowhere near mainstream? Well, the reason is simple. As it tends to go in high-end cars, the technology we see here will probably be in your driveway before too long. In very simple terms, this 3-liter straight-six turbo makes 429 horsepower, 384 pounds of torque. And thanks to the innovative new electrification hardware built in, it is also its own hydro station, meaning that it generates heaps of its own electricity as you drive it around, and that gets stored in a dedicated battery and used in a variety of ways that make for a better drive. This is not an add-on electric system, the entire powertrain is built around it, which makes some very interesting things possible, like braking or coasting with the gas engine shut down, saving fuel, or the beltless engine design. All auxiliary components are electrically driven, no energy-sucking belts or pulleys here. And there's no conventional starter motor, which makes the fuel-saving auto-stop system work faster and more smoothly. And using its self-generated electricity, this engine can provide a short-term electrical power boost up to 450 horsepower using no additional gasoline. And that electric power also helps enhance throttle response and acceleration, and especially refinement, and all of that with better fuel economy. Sounds win-win to me. And the best thing for the AMG driver at least is the electric auxiliary compressor, which kind of subs in for the turbocharger until that is fully spooled up. So you might say that the turbocharger itself is electrically turbocharged, meaning absolutely zero lag. Now I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, that was the stuff dreams were made of. Now that's all fairly complicated sounding, but there is nothing for you to do. No plugging in, no decision making. The E53 just generates electricity to store as you drive it around and uses it when needed. This requires none of your attention ever, and mostly you'd hardly even know anything was going on, which is of course the point. That is of course until you put your boot down, look for 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds, stacks of torque and a beautiful straight six howl from the quad pipes out back, only interrupted for a blink as the AMG speed shift transmission hammers through 9 forward gears with millisecond precision, never missing a beat. I have a suspicion that you might like to hear what that sounds like, so here is a fun sequence to show you what a high-performance, highly electrified AMG straight six hybrid turbo engine sounds like. Sure, it's a hybrid, but it is every bit as thrilling as you'd expect from a high-performing rocket Benz, and as far as I can tell, the electrification just helps put on a better performance. And would you just look at it? This car is a gorgeous bit of design work, deliberately smooth and curvaceous and organic, no slashes, no hard edges. It's visually the opposite of almost every one of its competitors, a nicely rounded pebble and a crowd of glitzy and hard-edged diamonds. So E53 AMG looks less busy and more subtle, but also more distinctive and graceful as a result. And the cabin cashes the checks written by that body. Just a peek inside shows that the designers want you to feel like you're fully getting your money's worth. Fully digital instrumentation with beautiful graphics, carbon fiber look accenting, miles of aluminum trim, and accent light pipes and gloss black. It is rich and full of detail, and most of it is impeccably assembled too. You even get some autonomous functionality, advanced camera parking support, and the ability to customize the driving experience right down to the instrument cluster layout with just a few taps. It's like the business lounge of a fancy hotel in a futuristic spaceship had a 429 horsepower love child. Rear seats are adult usable but best for shorter trips. The trunk is fairly shallow and the opening is on the small side. Most general shopping will fit just fine. Bigger items like camping coolers might be an issue. So, how does it drive? Well, like a performance-oriented luxury coupe to varying degrees at all times. Specifically, even with its most comfortable and laid-back settings engaged, there is always a sense that you are in something with a high-performing soul. The ride and steering are always telling you something about the surface you're driving on. The steering is always just a touch quicker than you might expect. The engine's sound can be decreased, but it never really goes away. It's fairly muted if you like, but very much present. Even the throttle response is always that little bit more immediate than expected, thanks the electrification. So the point is that even when you're driving gently, a bit of that AMG performance feel is always seeping through. You can't ever really dial this one in to be a big squishy land yacht. It's pretty much sporty throughout. On the highway, it's a comfy, locked-on and relatively quiet cruiser. There's all-wheel drive for bad weather, the steering is quick and heavy, minimal work at the wheel, maximum adhesion to the line or lane that you select. The brakes are as expected, powerful and fast stops really get those big calipers working, and you wonder whether you'd go right through your seatbelt. The pedal feel is a bit vague until you're deep into it. They actually feel the most precise and in their element when you work them hard. Pick Sport or Sport Plus mode to dial things up. When you do, you'll feel the car tense up and respond faster to what you ask. Here it rides with more stiffness and a higher resolution feel of the road beneath. The exhaust gets louder, flooding the cabin at full throttle. The steering feels even sharper, throttle response goes through the roof, and the transmission works the gears to keep that red line within striking distance. So in a blink, sportier drive modes make the E53 feel like it's just downed a triple dose of pre-workout. You can dial the performance in from mild to wild with a few flicks of this switch. Result, a performance coupe that's happy cruising gently, having its limits explored, or anything in between. And like a good modern sports car should, this E53 AMG uses advanced technology to let you fully enjoy whatever sort of driving experience that you'd like. My main complaint was the ride quality on rougher roads, aka the entirety of Greater Sudbury where I live. These are worst-case scenario roads, but even with the Trick adaptive suspension and AMG ride control technology, I noted ride quality taking a sometimes serious hit, and watch those potholes on these thin tires or you might turn one of those beautiful wheels into an octagon. Also, it's worth noting that if you're about to drop this sort of money, which is about 86 grand for starters, and call it 100 with the add-ons in this particular car, you've got plenty of other compelling choices on machines that might be faster, bigger, prettier, or even some that are fully electric if that's your thing. It is always nice to have choices, and this will be a good one for fuel-efficient thrills and world-class luxury and tech in an elegant body with a cabin that fully supports the asking price. I'll finish with this. I have been reporting on a lot of new electrified cars lately, and many more are coming. Safe to say I've been enjoying the whole electrification thing so far, primarily, and maybe especially here, because of how automakers are using the latest in hybrid technology to turn in better performance and better fuel mileage too, all with no compromise. Sounds pretty win-win to me. Thanks for watching.